Good evening and welcome to our presentation. Tonight, we're diving into a total change in how we see things or abstract art. I'm Mr. Eran.
And I'm Ignacio. This is a movement that shattered centuries of tradition, moving art beyond the mere representation of the visible world. Let's begin with the basics. What is abstract art? It uses a visual language of shape, form, color, and line to create a composition.
And that composition may exist with a degree of independence from visual references in the world. It's about the elements themselves, speaking directly to the viewer. Abstract art is often broken down into two types of abstraction. Let's start with the one that keeps a footing in the real world, partial abstraction.
With partial abstraction, the art is derived from a real object or figure, but the forms have been simplified, exaggerated, or fragmented in a noticeable way. Cubism is an example of this.
The next step is pure abstraction. This is the complete break.
Correct. The artwork bears no trace of any reference to recognizable figures, scenes, or objects. The composition is purely of formal elements like geometric shapes or gestural marks. Suprematism and neoplasticism are examples.
Now let's explore the history of this revolutionary art form. We start with the prosecutors, late 19th century.
Artists like post-impersonationists, examples are like Van Gogh, started to use color and form excessively, moving away from a literal representation of nature.
Then came the birth of pure abstraction. The Russian painter Vasily Kandinsky is widely credited as one of the first to create completely abstract paintings with his work entitled First Abstract Watercolor, 1910. He believed that color and line, like musical notes, could convey spiritual and emotional states directly.
We must mention Hilma af Klint. Recent research has brought her to prominence as she created a series of purely abstract paintings as early as 1906, predating Kandinsky. She kept much of her radical work hidden, believing the world was not yet ready for it.
Let's look at the major abstract art movements. We already mentioned Cubism. Our document also details Suprematism. The art described here is a conscious break from the physical world. It demands that you don't look for anything familiar. No people, no landscapes, and no recognizable objects are allowed in the composition. The entire piece is instead a self-contained world built from only the tools of the artist. Pure geometric shapes like squares and circles, or expressive energy of the gestural marks. Movement like Cubism, Suprematism, and Neoplasticism champion this idea of abstraction.
Suprematism is pure abstraction. It focuses on the supremacy of pure artistic feeling. It's characterized by basic geometric forms like squares or circles in a limited palette. One of its pioneers, Kazimir Malevich, is mentioned here.
Neoplasticism was a radical utopian art movement founded by Dutch painter Piet Mondrian around 1917, serving as the core artistic philosophy for the wider Die Gestigte, the style group. The movement was born of a desire for absolute purity and order following the global chaos of the World War I. Mondrian sought to create a universal visual language, one that was so objective and clear it could transcend individual emotion and cultural difference, ultimately serving as a blueprint for a more harmonious future society. Next is Abstract Expressionism. Abstract Expressionism was the first major international art movement to emerge from the United States, specifically New York City, in the 1940s and 1950s, shifting the global center of the art world from Paris. It was a reaction to the existential anxieties following World War II and a desire to create a deeply personal, monumental, and expressive art free from traditional structures. Influenced by European surrealisms, emphasis on the unconscious mind, atomism, is the emotional intensity of German Expressionism. Abstract Expressionists artists sought to channel their inner psyche directly onto the canvas. We also see other major figures in abstraction. Piet Mondrian, Mark Rothko, and Jackson Pollock are all included as key artists. Our first pioneer is Kazimir Malevich. Emerging from Russia in 1973, Malevich created suprematism. His belief was that art is needed to express pure feeling, and to do that, it had to be completely purified. He rejected anything that reminded you of the real world. His famous work, The Black Square, is the ultimate statement of this. Radically simple geometric shapes that float on a flat surface, intended to convey a sense of higher spiritual reality. Moving west, the Dutch artist Piet Mondrian offered a similar yet more rigid version called Neoplasticism. Mondrian believed that the chaos of the world and the chaos of the war could be solved by art. He devised the strictest rules. First, only horizontal and vertical lines. Second, only 3 primary colors. He was researching for a universal truth and harmony. His clean, balanced compositions weren't just paintings, they were a blueprint for how society could achieve perfect, stable equilibrium. While Europe sought intellectual purity, America sought emotional release. After World War II, this led to Abstract Expressionism, or the New York School. The mood was one of post-war anxiety, and artists felt the only honest expression was raw emotion. The icon of this movement is Jackson Pollock, the pioneer of action painting. Pollock completely rejected the easel and the brush. He would lay the canvas on the floor and pour, drip and splatter paint, often using sticks and hardened brushes. His paintings are not scenes, they are the physical record of his actions and his psychological state. The sheer energy and scale make the canvas feels like an arena. In contrast to Pollock's action, we have the immense meditative paintings of Mark Rothko, the master of color-filled painting. Rothko's goal was not action, but contemplation. He used monumental canvases filled with thin, luminous blocks of color that seemed to float. He wanted these colors to completely envelop the viewer and trigger a profound spiritual or tragic emotion. Abstract artists completely changed how they used materials, prioritizing the process and the physical properties of the medium over traditional representation. First one is painting. The canvas became the dominant expressive space, leading to revolutionary techniques like dripping and pouring by Pollock, staining by Frankenhalter. Next is sculpture. Abstract sculpture rejected the human figure entirely, focusing instead on pure structural geometry. First form is the pure form. The focus was strictly on form and space, using volume, mass, and line to create non-representational structures. Next, constructivism. Sculptures often employed industrial materials like steel, iron, and glass, building their work through assembly and construction rather than carving or modeling. Abstract art is a fundamental shift, a move away from simply recording to the world to instead focusing on the inherent expressive power of shape, line, and color.
It truly represents a total change in how we see things.
Thank you for joining us on our presentation. Good night.
Good